ChatGPT created this image of this dude's bike that
Really?
just out of his head.
Pop.
And he's like, what if we did this to your bike? The dude's like, oh my God, I love it.
Yes. That's so smart.
$4,000 later.
Welcome back to the Moving Metal Show. Been a couple weeks. Hope you guys had great holidays. First off, shout out to my co-hosts, Brandon Prokupek, Christian Engel. And then shout out to our first guest, yes?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Josh Morris, straight out of SRS Motorsports. We thank you for being
Straight
here
out
today.
of Greensboro.
Straight out of
Straight out of
Greensboro.
Greensboro.
Anyways, we appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely, guys. I'm glad for y'all to invite me out, man.
Yeah, anytime. I knew you were going to be the guinea pig. We've been through this 100. Anytime I have like a weird idea, I'm like, let me just call Josh.
Just call Josh.
Call Josh. I bet he'll be down to try it.
Ask Mikey. He likes it.
So I know you've watched the past couple episodes. We'll keep it pretty open, man. I know we have some ideas of what we want to talk about today. But if what are you about? Are you about to hit a button?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm turning your volume up a
hit a
little bit
button.
because you're way over
Well,
here.
that's because my mic's broken. Anyways, so what I'd like to start with is a little bit of an introduction of yourself. Why don't you talk to us about who you are, where you come from, essentially the story you told 15 minutes ago. But yeah,
Everybody
let's do it on
welcome
camera.
Josh Morris.
That's it right there. You didn't know it was a live show, did you?
Well, yeah. Appreciate the
Okay, you
applause.
guys can
Everybody
settle
calm
down, settle down,
calm
settle
calm
down.
Now, so a little bit about me is wanted to be a part of some sort of automotive industry ever since I was a little kid. My dad, always looked up to him. He's still in the car business and joined the car business and got the opportunity to go into power sports and never turned back. Always rode dirt bikes as a kid, loved motorcycles as an adult, and now I own my own motorcycle dealership. So
Nice.
It's pretty damn awesome.
All right.
Pesky crowd.
I think you have the way you worked yourself into that position is, I think, maybe aspirational for a lot of people
Absolutely.
who start the way you started. So can you talk to people about your journey and how you ended up in the ownership position?
Yeah. Crazy story. Started my way from the bottom. Now we're here.
Man, I wish I had that sound clip. Started from now we're here.
So no, literally got my first job out of the service as a service writer for a dealership, and went from service writing to selling.
Time out of the service to a service writer. So Marine, thank you for your service.
Absolutely, thanks, guys.
I wanted to make sure I got that in there too.
Right, because you said service. I thought
Yeah, I
service
wanted
in the
to make
service
sure
department.
everybody
Yeah,
understood.
you were in the service.
Yep.
You were a Marine,
In the
yeah.
service, yeah, in the
Okay.
Marine Corps, Semper Fi, and then got a job at a car dealership, writing service for a Cadillac store, and absolutely hated telling little blue-haired old ladies that they owed me a lot of money to fix their car.
They're like, it's just pulling to the left. You're like, that's $1 million. You don't realize
It's a lot more money. So I said, you know what? I want to sell. I absolutely have the ambition and drive. I want to sling some metal. And got a job at a Honda.
You wanted to move some
You
metal.
wanted
I
to
wanted
move.
to
No, you
move
wanted to
some
move
metal.
some metal, baby.
So I got a job at a Honda store selling cars, and within 4 months of being at the Honda store, I was #1 salesman 3 out of the 4 months that I was there, and realized I had really had a knack for this. This is pretty awesome. And went to luxury automotive, worked for a Lexus store for 4 years, and ended up in powersports, worked for Harley for 7 years, and realized that just motorcycles and power sports is so much cooler than cars ever thought about being. And I started with SRS 6 years ago and started as a sales guy. believe it or not, just started as a sales guy and got promoted to F&I manager. Did F&I for a while, and then we had a service manager quit abruptly, and said, "Wow, man, what are we going to do?" And me being the gung-ho guy in charge, I said, "I can do it." So I went back and ran the service department and pulled a rabbit out of my hat and and made it work from an absolute fustercluck of.
That was good verbiage. Buster Club.
Buster
This is a good time.
Sponsored by Moving Metal, the show.
It's a good time to cluck with my mic, I guess.
Yeah. Clever.
So brought the service department back from destruction and moved back into my.
That's a hard job.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's a feat.
It was a lot of long hours and a lot of sweat equity and a lot of bashing my head against the wall to make it happen. But moved back into the F&I office, and my owner, business partner now, looked at me and goes, "I appreciate everything about you, your drive, your work ethic, your commitment. I want out. I want to retire. Why don't you buy it from me?" I said, "What?"
You serious, Jack?
He goes, "Hey, I want somebody who has the same drive and work ethic that I do, and I want them to grow this and make it more than what I ever could. And I see that in you. So make it happen."
Wow.
And I said,
It's powerful.
"Absolutely." And 3 years later, here I am, sitting in the driver's seat,
That's right.
making it happen.
Hell yeah.
And it's been a pretty good 3 years for SRS Motorsports.
It's been pretty good.
It's been pretty good.
It's been pretty good.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story. I want to get, if you're okay with it, I'd like to get into some of those details of the story because we don't have a set topic today. But the first thing you said was you started in the service department and brought it back from the dead, which I think is a big issue for. I don't want to say
It's most dealers.
Most dealers at
yeah.
this point, and so
Yeah.
like I don't know what year it was that you actually did that, but I'm sure it's still applicable today.
It was August of 2022.
Okay, so back end of COVID, honestly, when the service issues really were built up to the point of like we're
But we
calling-
had a backlog for
we're
6 months.
we're 6 months out, man. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about how you went through? Okay, I know I have 6 months worth of stuff that I need to move through. And
Well, so that all started with just being a fireman, right? I went around with a fire hose and I was just literally putting out fires left and right. But it takes being organized and it takes a commitment to a process to be able to make that happen. And just when you're thrown into the bottom of a pile of shit,
When you're fighting those fires, how do you address what's important versus what's not as important, or how do you make priority in that situation? Because everybody's calling. I've been in the service department. I've been a service manager. Everybody's calling. What's the situation? What's the status? Where's my shit at? How do you prioritize that?
it's a difficult task to prioritize that, right? So
Is it just whoever's calling the most?
No,
the
it's
squeaky
not.
wheel gets the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That's where that grease goes.
well, yeah, yes and no, right? So as a Marine, you're learned to move one obstacle at a time. So you see something in front of you, you go, okay, that's an obstacle. How do I overcome this? Right? Overcome that one. Where's the next one?
Yep.
What's my next objective? How do I move on to the next one? And you just boom, 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 one after another, move through one at a time because you can't do everything at once. When you try to swallow that big horse pill, you can't do it. You got to
Right.
break it up into little sections. So as a service department, scheduling and prioritization is key. And you can't prioritize the guy that just dropped off to get a tire over the guy that dropped off 2 weeks ago to get a service done. You've got to move through as a process and first in, first out.
Yep.
So it's got to be a circus. Absolutely 100% is a circus, and you've got to be the ringleader.
Yep.
And you've got to make it happen.
I'm curious because, like, the reality is the tire changes and the oil changes and
The services.
that's
your money.
That's your money. So how do you prioritize with that without knowing that you may or may not be turning away dollars?
So, yes, when you're picking up a pile of
Shit.
proverbial shit,
You can say shit on this show. It's okay.
Yeah, we got it.
it's a different.
These guys have said shit before.
It's
Hell,
a
they
different,
probably just said shit right now.
Shit, that's me.
Damn it, he's right.
it's a different matrix than when you're in a continuously running environment, right? So a lot of people are looking at a pile of shit. A lot of people are going, I got it okay right now. So prioritization. So when you're in a pile of shit, does a tire change really matter when you've got 18 fires in your backyard? No, it doesn't. You got to put the fires out before you can get the gravy easy work.
Especially when you consider that like 65% of your business comes from that backyard. So if it's burning, like you got a
Oh,
real issue.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You got a real issue. So there's no magic sauce. There's no crystal ball you can look into. There's people who've written books and all this stuff about the service department, and I'm no guru whatsoever.
I think you could write a book.
Bro, you got enough life experience to write about it. No, yeah.
Coming 2027.
You can come back and promote it right here on this podcast.
If I had the time to write a book, guys,
Josh Morris from Service to Service.
you got it.
That's great. Okay, so obviously service departments are an issue, and I think they still are today. Like I think it is the most neglected yet probably the biggest opportunity for most power sports dealers.
100%. And in the automotive world, which you came from, the service department
Pays the bills.
Is the department that pays the bills.
So in automotive, and I've not heard it referred to this way in power sports yet, but in automotive, the dealership's broken up into two departments.
Fixed ops.
You got fixed and you got variable, right? The sales is considered your variable department. Fixed is considered your service department. So they
Service
go
of parts.
they go so far to call it fixed operations, meaning they expect that to run
Regardless.
this month,
yeah.
the next month, the month after that.
Well,
where
that's why they look at absorption.
Correct. And that's why they differentiate those departments, is because your fixed department should be doing a fixed amount based off of the rolling 9 to 13 months, depending on how they do their books, the rolling 9 or 13 months of what the sales department has done. So if you take your sales and you divide it, there's a mathematical equation to where you can say, basically in the car business, if you sell this many cars in 9 to 13 months, you should have this much service from this amount of cars. So that's why they break it down. And honestly, it could be broken down that way in power
I was
sports.
going to ask you.
It is.
Do
Yeah.
they?
in your 20 groups? It is.
But not from the OEMs.
In certain 20 groups, it is. But retention rates and hours per RO and all that is not as trackable as it is in the automotive industry.
Right.
That's a tech stack
That's
issue.
a tech problem, just like all the other ones are.
and it's
Well, it's a tech issue, and it's also a effort issue.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people
Trash
put
in,
zero
trash
effort
out.
Yep.
into their service department.
Yep.
Their service department is an afterthought.
Yep.
It's not a forethought on this place back here makes me money.
Yeah. But it is different though, and I will argue this fact that 80% of all the revenue that a power sport dealership does comes from the sales department. So if you don't have a sales department, you don't have a dealership.
service.
You don't have a
or you
dealership.
don't have a
period.
dealership, period.
Yeah.
Period. If you look around, there are more standalone automotive repair shops than there are standalone
True.
power sports repair shops.
True.
So it's innately we're all going to focus on sales.
Innately, yes. But
Because the
what
re-
happens when 08 comes back?
We're fucked.
Yeah.
Well,
How do you operate a dealership?
You don't. You got a business, or you have deep pockets.
You have a service department.
Well, yeah, but if you're, I'm going to use a round number. If your operations cost to keep all your staff and function is $100,000, and your service department is turning 50, and you're netting 40% on that 50,000,
So you have one sales guy and one sales manager and 6 service guys.
but you still have rent, you have insurance, you have payroll, you have
It
lights,
would be
utilities.
it would be
you have-
tough to
yeah.
just run it off a service department.
Yeah.
However, I agree with you in your point that if
the shit
the
were hit
the,
the
prob-
fan.
the problem a major problem, I'll put it this way, not the problem, but a major problem in the power sports industry is supply and demand. Right? We're dealing with a much smaller population of people than
We
what
are.
we've
Yep.
dealt with in the
Yep.
auto
Yep.
business. Right?
You
So
are.
when you take that smaller population and you say, okay, how much money can we pull from that group of people? There's a lot more of those people in the power sports industry that are truly doing what the car people say they're going to do. And every
Work on it
car guy,
themselves.
every car guy, everybody that buys a Corolla says, I just do my oil changes myself. When reality is they're going to take it to Quick Lube because they just think that they're cheap enough.
Facts.
In the power sports industry, they're really going to do it in their backyard because it sits high enough that they can just crawl under it and pull a plug and do it themselves.
And how much more mechanical is the guy that's buying our stuff is
much
versus
more
the-
mechanical.
Absolutely.
Much more mechanical. So you got a kind of double-edged sword there. So
But I've also seen the guy that goes, "Oh yeah, I can do the maintenance myself," and then never checks his valves and never changes his diff fluid.
Yeah.
So
they're still not
Well, if he buys a
professionals.
Honda, that's fine. If he buys a Polaris or a Can-Am, he's screwed.
Something wrong.
Well, I think the bigger part is to what you said is like, well, do automotive stores have to focus less on the sales because their margins are real margins?
absolutely not. No. Everything is driven by sales. This
Yeah.
world is driven by sales. American economy is driven by sales.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
hey,
do
It's
they
also
rely?
less, though.
Hey.
Think about this. As we've went along the last 10 years, what you've seen is you've seen less and less car dealerships. This guy's bought out this guy. So now there's
True.
not 2
Conglomerates.
and 3 dealerships in one town. There's one dealership within 100 miles.
Yep.
And on top of that, 100% of people buy cars.
Yep.
100%.
That's my point. Is it's a
And no, it's actually probably more than 100% because there's more. I have more than one car,
Valid.
right?
yep.
You have more than one car.
Only
I
have 4.
have more than one toy.
That's true. That's true.
But you're the anomaly. We're the anomaly
anomaly
in that situation.
With a luxury item, I would argue that I would say probably the majority of our customers that are financing have one toy. That has value. I'll put it that way. They've got one that has value, and then they've got an 04 4-wheeler that's worth $250 or something. But I think the majority of our customers, I think that from what I've seen, they don't have 3 or 4 side by sides. They've
What are you
got
talking about?
a
My
side by
04
side.
Recon's worth.
So if you want to do a trade-in, go see Josh
Well,
Morris.
We got $500
Talk to
trade
this guy.
assistance.
You mentioned
It's
something
worth
though.
$750 now.
You mentioned something that I'd like to expand on a little bit. Whenever you said that dealerships are still driven by sales, like period.
Period.
You know something that power sports service departments don't have a lot of? Real good salespeople.
That's facts.
And that is the truth. That is the truth. You could take the same personnel that you've got in your service department, train them, and even put them on a pay plan that incentivizes metrics. And I bet you money you turn a lot more money out of that service department.
Dude,
That's how I pay my service guys.
Boom. There you go.
how long have I said we need to turn into Jiffy Lube? Bro, I can't get an oil change at a Jiffy Lube without them telling me something else that I need. And me being like,
You
you
need
know what?
windshield wipers.
You know what? You're probably right. I'll do it. Yeah, just do it while it's there.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah,
there.
yeah, 'cause it's there.
That takes
Yeah.
a salesperson, though.
Yes.
Correct.
Not a very high level. You don't have to be, the top performing salesperson in the nation, but you need to at least have a reason to ask the question.
Right.
So if your pay plan is that way, there's your reason.
My
Well,
service writer was a golf pro.
Ooh,
nice.
interesting.
Oh my God,
That's awesome.
absolutely love JJ. He is.
Dude, golf pros are great.
Shout out to JJ.
Do you know
Shout out
why?
to
You know why? Because golf is such a detailed oriented sport. In golf, when you miss, You miss by millimeters, and it makes a world of difference.
Downrange.
So it like you have to assume that somebody like that is so detail oriented.
Well, and after he was a golf pro, he was a handyman, fix-it guy for punch lists for realtors. And so he's got some mechanical ability.
Problem solving.
But I hired him for being a customer. So he bought a bike from me and would come back and go, hey, what do you think? How did I do on this? If I change this over to this, do you think it would give me X amount more this? And I'm like, I love talking to you.
You need a job, buddy. What do you do?
So, it just came up in conversation one day. He came in to, actually, he brought me a T-shirt. He came in wearing this T-shirt, and I was like, dude, that's an awesome T-shirt. He's like, oh, yeah, cool. So a week later, he comes in with my size T-shirt. He's like, here you go, man. Thanks for all the helpful hints and stuff. It's like, what are you making now? What are you doing? and just rolled into a conversation, and now he's one of my favorite employees. But he focuses on the minute. He does. He focuses on the minute. So we've got this old CBR 1000 back in the service department right now, and he pulled up ChatGPT, right? He's like, hey, what if we had gold wheels? What if we had this? What if we had that? And like ChatGPT created this image of this dude's bike that
Really?
just out of his head.
Pop.
And he's like, what if we did this to your bike? And the dude's like, oh my God, I love it.
Yes. That's so smart.
$4,000 later, we've got this dude's
And he's happier than shit.
Yeah, bro.
tickled pink.
Yeah. Yeah, that deserves a button press.
Damn.
Okay, so
That takes sales.
it does take
Sales.
It took
Exactly.
it took somebody
Initiative.
It took somebody that
To
said,
listen
"I've got a
and pay
reason
attention."
to do this.
Yep.
I see an opportunity. Might be small, but I see an opportunity. So I'm going to put in a little extra work, and I'm going to see if it lands. And then all of a sudden, here comes the airplane, and at touchdown, everybody makes a bigger check.
Absolutely.
Well, is it sales or is it just what you said? It's
It's
just a little
sales.
bit of effort.
Well,
It's
sales
sales.
is
I think
effort.
it's given.
Yeah,
I think it's given a shit, and I
Yeah.
think it's also enjoying and being interested in what you
What
do.
you do, correct.
Because that guy's clearly interested in bikes. The story that you just told, he's interested in doing this and this and this to his bike. So a customer brings that bike in, he's like, "What if? What if we could do this? What would it look like?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's an enthusiast, is what I'm getting.
100%.
So this guy's an enthusiast. Plus, he has a little bit of sales ability, and he obviously can put in the effort. But he has the ability to look at that thing when it comes in and goes, "Man, I wonder what this thing would look. How cool could we make this?"
Well, and I always tell people when they ask me, is, well, what all can we do to this thing? I said, the only two things I'm limited by is your imagination and your budget.
Yep.
Bang pow.
Bang pow.
That's the Harley guy.
Honestly, you're not just flexing. We're serious in that point. So, okay. So from service department to what was your next step there?
Back to F&I. And I was in F&I for, I don't know, 4 months when I got approached with, hey, do you want to buy this thing from me? And I went, let me think about that. That's a big decision. So talked to my wife, talked to my old man, was like, what do I do?
Even a guy that has all the answers never has all the answers.
I said, I'm standing on the edge of this cliff.
Jump. Jump. Jump.
And I took the biggest leap of faith I've ever taken in my entire life, and I absolutely love every second of it. Absolutely love every second of it. And now I'm wondering, is there another cliff?
There is.
There is another cliff.
I got news for you, buddy.
Every time you jump off one and you inadvertently land on another
You're
one.
like,
You're
shit, I got to do this again. and for I think everybody at this table, this is applicable to. And honestly, if you're taking the time to listen to this podcast, it's likely it's applicable to you too. Is there's always another cliff. There's always another cliff, right? So like you and I have many discussions about like even with the marketing company, like exit, we'll be good. But the reality is like, I'm not at the point where I'm ever going to be able to sit still. So all I'm going to have to do is jump off of another cliff and try something else.
Find something else to do.
And I think that comes with a mentality type of thing. Is like, if you think you're ever going to retire and drink margaritas for the rest of your life, then you're probably not the guy that's ever going to retire and drink margaritas for the rest of your life.
Let me tell you something. There is only so many fucking margaritas you can drink on the beach before you sit there and you look at yourself and go, what the hell am I doing?
Well, my wife asked me last night. She goes, "What do you want to do when you retire?" I was like, "I don't want to retire." I said, "One thing I would like to do is kill every major animal on this planet."
Okay.
Hopefully that's not human.
Wow.
I was in the Marine
How
Corps.
high do you want to go?
already did that.
How high do you want to go on the food chain, bud?
All the way up.
I'm going to kill a great white shark.
A bear.
He looked at me funny.
But I mean, no, it's like an aspiration of mine. I want this office with wild game that I've searched the globe and hunted. Like,
Just stay away from the stingrays. You ask the crocodile hunter, just stay away from the stingrays.
Good eye, mate.
No more boiling onions.
I know this is technically a power sports podcast, but I'm very interested in your service time, and like, I'm sure we'll make connections on how your service time and what you got.
Which service are you talking about here?
The Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps.
That service.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was talking about the 3 months I spent on fucking the service department.
So, if you would indulge,
I was there for 3 months. I gotta get the hell out.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I graduated in 04. Tried to join the Marine Corps, and Mom said, "No, you ain't doing it." 17 years old. And I said, "Well, I guess I'll go to college." So I went to college, got an associate's degree in business, and said, this whole school thing's, that's okay. I'm not digging it. So I asked my pops, I said, "Hey, what do I do now?" He goes, "Go find you a real job." So I drove to the recruiting office and joined the Marine Corps. And
Got a real job, Mom.
so this is circa 2005. And obviously 05, there was a lot of shit popping off.
Yeah.
And my dad tried to talk me out of it. He was a Marine, and my grandfather was a Marine, and my uncles were Marines.
It's in the blood.
And so it's in the family. And he's like, "Why don't you join the Air Force?" And I was like, "They don't look as cool in their uniform, Dad." How do you expect me to get some pussy in an Air Force uniform?
There we go.
So
Is that how you move metal?
It's because he looks
it's
at his
all
uniform.
sales. It's all sales.
Spoken.
It has nothing
Very
to do
well.
with your uniform, then, is what you're saying.
No, it's a silver tongue.
It is in the presentation, though.
It is in the presentation.
Yeah.
So
Be careful with
the
that
7
old
steps
silver
to the
tongue
sale.
you got there.
The feathers don't look good. Nobody looks at them.
So went and did that. I originally joined as a C-130 Loadmaster, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be a cool job, fly all around the world and taking shit everywhere." And ended up breaking my shoulder, so that couldn't fly with a broken shoulder. And the Marine Corps tried to separate me because I couldn't pass a physical fitness test. And they said, "Well, you got to pass a PFT or we're going to kick you out." So I did a physical fitness test in the Marine Corps with a broken shoulder. So I did the minimum requirement of 3 pull-ups, one-armed, to pass.
Damn right. You got packed. You got a pull-up bar. I got to see this one-arm pull-up.
Whoa.
That was 25 years ago, Brandon.
Man, you can do 5.
You've been talking about
Get
like
enough this Elijah Craig, and you can do 10 of
he's
them.
been talking about like wanting to be his dad and everything. We didn't realize your dad is Chuck Norris.
You fucking talking about one arm pull-ups over here, dude.
So yeah,
I ain't doing
also,
one-arm nothing.
I also am from Texas.
I can
so-
drink with one arm.
Well, that makes
And
sense.
his name is Walker.
no shit, dude.
No, that's actually my little brother's name is Walker, but my dad's name's Greg.
Oh
But
my
no,
god!
Greg.
I immediately thought of Talladega Nights. I'm like, well, his name wasn't Medicine Woman.
Actually, I've made the joke many a times, and I've called him TR for short.
There you go. There you go.
Or TR for short. You made
So
that
you did fucking 3 one-arm pull-ups, huh?
Yeah, 17
He's
minute,
like back on track.
I'll just fucking get up and walk away right now.
17-minute 3 mile and 100 crunches. It's nothing to a 21-year-old who's
Yeah.
been working out for the last 2 years doing
Yeah.
nothing but.
Wait, what is that?
That was a one-arm pull-up.
It's a one-arm.
One-arm
I'm
pull-up.
sure you're like,
Good for clarification there.
For clarification, that was one-arm pull-ups.
Coolest thing you've ever done in the Marine Corps, or coolest, or like most traumatic, whichever one.
So
This
we'll
can
go,
get
we'll
deep.
go with the we'll go with the coolest.
I'm pretty sure he talked about killing people earlier.
That did
That
happen
was a me and you conversation.
inadvertently.
We're gonna bleep this part out.
So coolest thing I ever did was I got to shoot a Mark 19, and obviously all three of you are staring at me like, "What the fuck is a Mark 19?" It is a fully automatic grenade launcher.
I'm actually familiar with that.
I was like, he seemed like he knew.
Yeah,
He was
that's
like,
pretty badass.
"Oh." These
That's
pack
pretty
were
out.
like, I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm kind of surprised that my video game
I was gonna say, I
co-host
think I've had
didn't
that
know
on
what
Call
it
of
is.
Duty before.
Yeah, he probably
I
perceived
probably
it.
wouldn't admit
So
that.
getting to,
So you shot one. He has a gold one.
You should see the skins I've got for that thing, man.
so getting to press the butterfly on that thing and just watching it.
Yeah, that's cool.
What about where it's going, man?
Well, it was
It's not going towards you.
We were at a practice range. It wasn't
Okay.
just going towards.
I was gonna say.
Salt Lake City.
That's
I was
badass.
just fucking. You
That's
know
badass.
Point and shoot.
Yeah,
That's
well,
cool.
So
that's how I feel in watercraft season.
there's, of course, y'all are all familiar with Claymore mines.
Yep,
Yeah.
Literally on the front of a Claymore mine, it says "this side towards the enemy,"
towards enemy.
Wow.
because they have to make everything idiot-proof.
Kind of
True,
sounds
though.
like a dealership.
It does very much sound
right.
like a dealership.
Nah, I would agree. Idiot proof.
So again,
Put your
back,
tools here. Please sell here.
back to the dealership side of things. You do have to. I call it breaking it down Barney style.
Yep.
Right. So we all remember Barney, the big purple dinosaur.
Hated that fucker.
But he broke everything down to the nth degree. So when you were explaining something to somebody, you have to inspect what you expect. So when you tell them to do something, you can't just say, "Hey, do this." And in your mind, you know how you want it done,
Yep.
but they have no clue what to do. So you break it down Barney style and you explain how you want things accomplished. And that's how you build leaders. So then they can see the big picture and they go, "Oh, wow, that's why you asked me to do this way, because it reflects X, Y, and Z." And it becomes one of your principles is building leaders.
That's right.
One person can't lead everything all the time. If we could, we'd be
We'd
Superman.
be Chuck Norris.
We'd be Chuck Norris.
Your dad.
Yeah, exactly.
You know him.
I do.
He swims through land.
He does. And when he does a push-up, the earth moves.
Yeah. Don't want to take him out of rotation.
So on that leadership topic, how do you motivate and inspire your younger staff? Because I think a lot of dealers have problems with that, and per some of the conversations that I've had, people go, "Well, I can't find any good help, and these damn millennials don't want to work." And my response arrogantly is, "Well, they won't work for you, but I can get them to work." So what is that you do to inspire those young people to be motivated and to work and to be successful?
The biggest thing I do is lead by example. If I walk in one day and I see, we pulled in units the night before and there's mud on the floor, I'm grabbing a broom or I'm grabbing a mop. Or now, of course, that's a cliche, right?
Sure.
I'll fucking clean the bathrooms.
Yeah.
But no, I show each and every one of my people at my dealership that I am willing and open to do their particular job for them, to help them, whatever. And I tell everybody on a basis frequently, I wouldn't say daily basis to every single person, is my job here is to help you be better. So anything I can do to train you, to help you, to assist you, if I make you better, you make me better.
That's right.
I was driving down the road today. I was thinking about this point because I think it's applicable to this group. And I think about it in a sports perspective. We don't really have a talent acquisition problem. Most people have a talent retention problem. And so, like, I'm at the store this week down there with them, and I'm watching this 19-year-old, and I'm like, you got a good one. How do you hold on to it? Even if they are not what you're saying, because, all right, so NFL perspective or roster building perspective in sports, you only get so many first round picks that are pro level ready, and even all of your first round picks are not always pro level ready. Yeah. The question is how long do you give them before you make the decision of like, oh, you're the guy you're a franchise guy, you're here for 5-10 years, or you're not it, and either you work yourself out or we're going to move you, if that makes sense. And
so as an owner, as a manager, within 2 weeks
whether you've got a good one.
100%. And Brandon, you looked at me like, yep, I can attest to that.
Well, I'm 50-50 on that because I think you have a gut feeling, but I was always told you have to give them three things. You have to give them the tools to do their job, you have to give them the training to do their job, and then you have to understand if they have the capacity to do their job. If they have those three things and they're still failing, then they're not a good fit. But if you as a leader, you don't give them the tools to do their job, you don't give them the training and the attention they need to do their job, and you don't know that they're competent. They're competent enough to do the job, then you have failed as a leader.
Well, it's really, again, it's roster evaluations versus like, you probably know in 2 weeks, well, what I see for this person, not where you are right now, but I know you probably
what
know
you
in
can
2
be.
Exactly.
I think a fourth thing that I can add to that is that person in the right position? Do I have a sales guy that needs to be a tech? Do I have a sales guy that needs to be a service writer? Do I have a service writer that, he has all this potential and he's not flourishing here, but he has the ability to be a salesperson because this guy wants to make $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year? Because I can't keep that guy as a service writer if he wants to make $100,000 a year.
Correct.
But if he's the right guy, I could transition him over here into this position and he'd flourish. So I think it's making sure that that person is in the right job. You might have the right guy, but do you have the right guy in the right spot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Should you? Is it a position conversion? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like this.
It's not I'm looking at these KPIs and you're sucking at your job and well, I don't think you're doing a good job, so I'm going to fire you.
Yeah, but like you said, like I think within 2 weeks of spending time around someone, you're going to understand like, oh, I see you right now, but I see the shape that you're going to take, and either you like the shape or you don't. And here's the problem is when you see the shape, especially with say a young salesperson, 18, 19, they're hungry, they're going to outsell most of like, well, what's the process of like
18, 19-year-olds? I haven't met many hungry ones.
They're out there.
Well, I can guarantee you that there's 4 sitting at this table right now that when we were 18 or 19, we were probably pretty hungry.
Absolutely.
And
I was pretty dumb.
Dumb. I don't care if you're dumb. You need to be hungry.
Hungry, yeah.
If you're hungry,
I
can fix the dumb part.
Yeah. True. Give them to me young and dumb and competent.
Yeah,
and,
bring somebody in that's stupid and hungry, and I will create a monster.
So I never even graduated high school, and I had my first management title at 18.
That's awesome, dude.
So the reason I'm saying that is not to sound big-headed, but you ask a specific question is how do you retain good talent? The only way that you've got a chance, if you get lucky enough to get somebody that's really quality, to maintain that person is to cultivate them. the only chance you have to retain a good, solid person is to help cultivate them in their journey. And here's why I say this. When I was 18, 19 years old, I thought I was killing it. Manager, had a fiance, was getting ready to get married, got married at 19, was like doing life. Because part of my story is because I had to, but I took a lot of good stuff from that. And I realized whenever I look back over my entire career, the mentors that I have that I really appreciate are the ones that cultivated me the most. And those are the ones I stuck with the longest. But even they could see something in me that they knew wasn't where I was. And it wasn't what I was going to end up being. So what they were doing is they were just trying to cultivate me as much as they could when I was malleable, right? And because of that, I appreciated them, and I saw myself going in the right direction. And because of that, they had my loyalty.
Yeah.
So when they see somebody like yourself, right? You I hate to say this, but you luck in, or you become fortunate to having somebody that walks through the door that says, "Hey man, I need a good position. I need a job doing whatever," right? The money is the need for the job, but the job is not going to be their end goal, right? They've got to pay a mortgage or rent, or their baby mama's yelling or whatever. So like they need the job, but what you do with that person as a leader dictates not only how long you're going to have that person, but you can physically change that person's life. And I had positions that were nothing in the route that I've gone with my career that pointed me
in
you're
the direction
going.
that I'm currently going, and I'm very appreciative of that because those people cultivated me. And they said, okay, don't like how your field looks like right now, so let's run a plow, right? Let's run the seeder. Let's get some water on it. Let's make sure that you're prepared for some sunlight, because if you're prepared for the sunlight, we can't control the sunlight, but when it hits, there's going to be something really beautiful that comes out of this field.
Yeah.
It's
There's going to be something really beautiful. So as a true leader, I feel like that is the number one thing that you've got to make sure that you're confident in is your ability to cultivate people.
agreed, and it's like one of the things that I get asked about a lot is, well, we have trouble hiring good people. Well, do you have trouble hiring good people, or are you just not a great developer? And because here's the issue, like, again, I put it into sports perspective because that's the easiest way to understand. Like, if all you're relying on every year is for your draft picks to come out of college ready to play
Who wants to
right
be on the
now,
Cleveland Browns?
Yeah. Like, if all you're doing...
Not even Cleveland Browns.
Exactly.
For the top talent.
Exactly. So, like, if all you're doing is relying on your new acquisitions to be ready to go and be at full capacity,
Yeah,
day
you got to
one,
pay those boys.
yeah, but that's separate. I'm talking about you draft good talent, young talent,
Yeah,
hungry
yeah,
talent,
hungry, yeah.
and you expect them to be superstars on day one. Well, guess what? You're going to be upset because
Tom Brady took a couple years.
Tom Brady sat on the bench at Michigan for 3 years before he ever played a game. Was drafted 167, sat for 2 years behind Bledsoe, greatest of all time. And so it's not, I've truly come to realize that it's probably not an acquisition problem. It's, well, how good are you as a talent developer? How long can you develop the talent? And then how willing are you to come out of your pocket to retain good talent? Because if I've got a quarterback that I drafted in the 5th round who maybe didn't do anything for 2 years, but I see the spot, and then he comes in for the backup, and you're like, oh, I got something. Well,
Tony Romo? Are you talking about Tony Romo?
how are you going to write him a contract, or are you going to let him walk?
I don't know. I don't know sports.
Imagine if Kraft and Belichick said, we're not going to pay Brady. He's only been a starter for a year, because that's how long he was a starter for before they had to sign him to an additional contract. Well, the Patriots don't win 7 Super Bowls. That's for damn sure. They have to make that decision based on what they see in the future, or the shape that they see, not what I've witnessed over 3 years. And that's a hard thing to do, right? Because we are a results-based business.
Again, yes, as a results-based business, everybody has to be money motivated in a certain way. that their pay reflects what they perform. So if you've got a 100% Tom Brady GOAT performer, yeah, you're going to do what you can to retain him.
Yeah, but you got to have a spot for that guy.
But you have to have a spot for that.
Because that guy will top out, and even if
He's got to have somewhere to go.
he's got to have somewhere to go. If this guy tops out, I'm going to use a round number, and he's like, you're paying him 200, and you just cannot pay him more than 200 for what he's doing. But he's worth 500,
He's
and
gonna
you
go
don't
where
have a
he's-
spot for the 500 guy. He's going to leave. So I think you have to, as if you're a single individual dealership or even 1, 2, 3 rooftops, you have to identify: are you a farm for these people, and are they going to come through your organization and work their way up? Because once they get to a certain level, if they're a high performer and they know that they're going to go become an owner somewhere.
Yep.
They're going to start their own dealership. They're going to go
Right here.
You know what I mean? they're going to move somewhere else to be a high performer. Right?
Correct.
So I think that's an interesting concept is, okay, we want to develop these high performers and we want to keep them and retain them. But if your capacity to pay that person what they're actually worth is capped, then you have to understand you're a farm.
And
Unless you get the right guy that his cap is whatever the
he's
number
comfortable
is,
with.
and he's good with that. And we have those people.
here's the problem with that is that if you don't have somewhere to put him and he stays because he feels like he's doing enough, well, is he still the same guy?
No.
He's not the same guy.
He's not the same guy because he'll eventually say, I'm comfortable.
But you also have to find the loyalty in that.
Yep.
And the loyalty comes from being a leader that they want to follow.
Yeah.
Just like your cultivators in the past, you stuck around longer than you thought you ever
Longer than I should have.
And you
Yep.
go, no, I don't. I feel a connection.
A sense of moral obligation.
Yeah.
I feel obligated to this
there.
guy for making me who I am.
Yep.
That I don't want to leave. his
Believe.
side.
Yeah.
So yes, there's a happy middle. There's a point where you have somebody who's above their means in a position, and then you go, okay, well, can I move you to a different position where you're at your means, or I challenge you to the fact that I can make you into something that I didn't think you had at the beginning?
Yeah. I think you have to develop
Do
a
I take a
path for those
finance
people.
manager and put them in the service department and expect them to?
Hell no. I think you have to develop a path for those people, right? If you have a high performer and he's on the raw edge of, okay, do I stay? Do I leave? You know, my loyalty's here and I don't want to leave, but my capacity is much more. I think you have to bring that person in. And I think you have to open your book up, maybe not all your books, but open your book up and be super transparent and say, okay, we're here. If you want to make this, we need to do this. Help me develop a plan that gets us here and you there.
Because a lot of the times, that person doesn't know
No.
where they can go. So you have to show
Well,
them.
and sometimes they have no idea what the job, like, I mean, we have these people that work for us and we're not super transparent with them about, okay, how much is the dealership actually making? How much revenue are we turning? How many sales
important are
How many
you?
sales do we have to make to cover our bills versus how many sales do we have to make to hit our target?
No, I made it a point at the end of 2025 at our New Year's cheers. I told everybody, I said, hey, this is where we're at for the sales department. This is where we're at for the
What'd you tell them?
service department.
What number did you tell them?
Gross profit
Okay.
for each department. And I said, I want to thank each and every one of you. This is all because of you. This has nothing to do with me. This is the effort that you put in
100%.
to give me. And this is what the fruits of our labor are. So I'm transparent with all my employees. I want them to know where we stand. And
Well, and that's why you're crushing it. Truthfully, it is. If I've interviewed some of my guys and asked them, I said, okay, what has attracted you to me as a leader? And the number one they said, the number one they think, the
Your blue
number
eyes.
one they, huh?
your blue eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
fucking
The
full
number
head of
one
hair,
thing
baby.
they said, the number one thing they said is your transparency and letting us know how this thing works, so that we know what dials to turn to make it better. And their pay plans are derived based off the the performance of the dealership.
Well, if everybody on the team understands how you win, well, then everybody on the team is more dedicated.
That's right.
To getting to the win.
right.
to getting to the W.
Yep.
So I start every one of my managers' meetings with, where are we at? I already know where we're at. I'm not asking a rhetorical question.
Right.
I want them to know where they're at.
Sounds like some car business.
So let's talk a little bit about SRS. Tell me about the brands that you carry. I mean, obviously I know this, the people don't. And then tell me about your 2025.
Slide deck.
SRS Motorsports, we're actually 5 brands, but we don't talk about 2 of them.
Wait, are you Suzuki dealer?
Had to do it.
So no, we're Honda, Kawasaki, CF Moto,
So what's the other two?
Kimco, and SSR.
Oh yeah,
We'll talk about those in December.
I wouldn't talk about those either. Just kidding.
You sell paint?
No, I'm not.
PBG.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Great success.
So SRS, 3 brands.
3 brands, major performers.
Greensboro, North Carolina.
Greensboro, North Carolina, right in the heart of middle of North Carolina. And we get a little bit of everything. And 2024 was my first year as GM part owner, and I thought we killed it. And we sold 551 units for the entire year, and we made an ungodly amount of money. So I thought.
Nice recap.
2025 rolls around. We sell 564 units. Like 13 units. That's awesome. Then I start digging in. We did $135,000 better in sales on 13 more units.
Net or
Gross.
gross? Okay.
So we did $20,000 better in parts. We did $40,000 better in F&I. We did $30,000 better in service. And I'm going, wow, where did all this growth come from? And then I started reflecting on it. I look back and I go, what's different? Oh, shit, it's me.
Yeah.
Wait, so if 20
Valid.
Boom.
It's one. What you're saying is valid, and I wanted you to do that, but
You wanted me to toot my own horn.
Yeah.
Well,
a little bit.
let's deep dive on when he says what's different and what's better, and he said it's me. What is it about you that got better from 24 to 25?
well, here's
So 24 new, going, how do I figure all this shit out? Going, okay, well, let's look at the service department. What are they doing?
Yeah.
How can I make them better? What processes can I put in place? What drive, what motivator can I do to make them better? Parts. What can I do? So there's a whole process behind bettering everybody day in and day out. So to Brandon and Jet Lee's, if I can get 1% better every day. So Toyota even came out with it and said, hey, we're going to call this Kaizen, right? If I can get 1% better every day, what can I improve on? So in my manager's meeting that I have weekly, I go around the room and I go, okay, what are we doing good? What are we doing bad? Where's the hiccups? What can we make better? And everybody gives their input. They go, okay, well, this is working, this isn't working, this is okay, this is a hiccup, this is an area I think we can improve on, and everybody gives their input, and we compile those and go, okay, collectively, how can we make this better? So that's weekly. So 52 times a year,
Yep.
I sit down with the heads of my departments and go, what are we doing good? What are we doing bad? How can we make it better? That's how you get better.
it's time, and I honestly, I'm going to put you in rewind a little bit, because even though 24 may have been your first year as GM, you've been making decisions as long as you've been with us, because I remember who the decision maker was when he came on with us.
As far as I'm concerned, it's Josh Morris.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we're not just talking about 24 here. We're really talking about a build-up since when? 22?
It was 22, 23.
22, 23. And so, you know, like...
What was a driving force?
Yeah.
So how do we get better? Well, we need marketing. Well, what are we doing for marketing right now? 3 paid Facebook advertisements a year? Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean, no, we're not doing shit. We're not doing
We're doing something, guys.
And to be clear,
down.
the reason me asking you that is not to promote marketing, is to promote decision making and the fact that, yes, if you're a sales manager right now, you can make decisions that impact the growth of the dealership before you
100%,
get into a
absolutely.
leadership position. That's my point.
Absolutely.
Not to promote the marketing, but just I knew how long you've been actually making decisions there. And so just because 2024 was the first year you had the fucking title.
The title.
I was trying not to cuss, but
The
fucking title, like, is not the only year that you need to take credit for. You know what I mean? Like, I know that you've been making decisions in that since really late COVID market.
correct.
Yeah.
And in that is when you have confidence in yourself and you see an area that needs improvement, don't be quiet. Speak up.
Speak. Yeah. Speak.
Speak
Yeah.
up.
Moment that moves metal here. My weekly interjection, or two really. One, if you're a leader and you don't have that confidence, you better find it.
Because you're not a leader.
You better find it because you're not what you think
Well,
you
it's
are.
voicing your opinion. Like I had a very hard conversation 2 or 3 days ago about a building that we're buying, and like the conversation got very heated. And at the end of that conversation, nobody was offended. Everybody walked away from that conversation going, "Wow, we made progress." And that's what I've always said: is the thing that moves the needle is the hard conversation.
Correct.
My wife actually calls me the king of hard conversations. And the reason that is because there's no good and there's no progress made in an easy or good or soft conversation. They all come from hard conversations.
Bro, when do you and I make the most? And I'm talking to you as a CMO right now. When do we make the most progress?
When we hash it out,
When we're coming off of a month that was shit, and we say
what the happened?
punt.
Yeah,
we're
punt.
gonna redo the
Yep.
whole thing.
Yep. Your opinion matters. My opinion matters.
Redo
the
the whole
GM's
shit.
opinions matter. What do we need to do?
Whereas if we're coming off a good month, we're like,
Yeah, we killed it.
you know,
No, we're not, because you know
Ziggy
what?
zoggy.
The number one thing that I look at is
Oi,
what's
oi,
the.
oi.
I don't want to get too far off subject.
My guy.
I don't want to get too far off subject, and we'll go back to Josh in a second. But I want to say this: when we come off of a really good month, at the very end of that month, my number one fear is this hangover.
and it happens.
Because the reality is, and you can attest to this, if you have a really good month, you're going to have really big commission checks. So if you don't have an equally good month that next month, your profitability as a dealership is going to be lower.
Correct.
You come off a killer month, you have killer ass payroll the next month for all the commissions that are paid from the good month. And if you have a soft month, you're eating shit.
And it's why what we were just talking about before the break.
And no one cares.
They have they have to understand.
No, that's my point.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
no one cares.
no
'Cause
one
the
bids.
the people that just got that paycheck
Are thinking,
Pe-
man,
people-
I just made blah, blah, blah a month.
People in general will always do what they're allowed to do. And guess what a big paycheck allows a person to do?
Just
Well,
chill.
I always remember.
I think you need to get some more bills, man.
I preach to my guys. I said, you know what? This month can either be filet or it can be ramen. So
I ain't
you
ever
just
eating ramen ever again.
you just ate filet
I actually
last
kind of
month.
like ramen.
How you like that filet, dog?
I love it. I make it a point
I want that Wagyu, man.
in my own personal like journey. Right, I cook myself a steak every Saturday, but where I buy my steak depends on how I did that week. So if I'm going to the butcher and I'm going, all right, cut me some of that prime, or I'm going to Food Line and I'm going, what's on sale?
What have you done to ensure success inside your dealership that any dealer that's listening to this right now can take away from it?
100% is training your staff.
Did you do that? Is it an outside? What's that look like?
No, it's me. Because I've been in every facet of every nook and cranny.
So out of
my
100%
dealership,
of your time, how much time do you spend training your staff?
whenever I can.
Okay.
If I see an opportunity to step in and go,
Bam.
Fill blank spaces.
Let me ask a more specific question. What do you see as an opportunity for training?
any opportunities you're training. So obviously you train how you perform. So if we're practicing on our customers, we're losing money.
Yeah.
So you take every imaginable thing that goes on in your dealership on a day-to-day basis. You have the guy that walked in to look at helmets and didn't buy. Why didn't he buy? Well, he was this and that and this and that. I was, well, how can we make that different? So you use that as an opportunity to train.
So you're like AAR.
Dude, all the time. Like literally my job.
Has he read the book?
No, I haven't read.
I don't think so.
I haven't read that book. But literally my job, I tell everybody on a day-to-day basis is how can I make you better at your job?
Yeah.
And I walk around looking for ways
For opportunities.
to help people get better at their job.
So are you familiar with the term AAR,
I'm not.
after action review?
Oh yeah.
So like
Okay.
the guy comes in to buy the helmet, why didn't he buy? That's after action review. The guy comes in to buy the helmet, but he didn't buy the gloves and the jacket and the boots. Why?
Yeah, we work on that on a I mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what AAR is. No matter
Gotcha.
if you made the sale or didn't make the sale, even if it's like we talk about, if they made a sale and everything went right, okay, let's recap that.
Why did it go right?
Why did it go right? And was it a fluke? Did we do something that, we didn't even know we did that made that deal? It's not, we don't just train on.
that's just a normal part of my psyche.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that's an actual process.
Well,
I
I think it's an Army term, honestly.
I thought it was an anomaly. Well, after action report. So
Yeah.
if you get into a conflict, you get into something, you go, okay, how did this go right? Were the fields of fire correct? Were
Yep.
Yep.
this and that correct? Did we kill enough of the enemy, or did we do enough of this, or whatever? So it's an after action report. So you just report everything that happened in that action.
Well, maybe that's what AAR is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we're talking Navy versus Marines.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I took that from a naval book.
Yeah. Which Marine Corps is a department of the Navy. We just happen to be the men's department.
You wear the full
Hold
size
up.
shoes.
Hold up. We don't want to offend anybody. But yes, we do.
all right. So training, and I'm really talking about 2025 here. I know you have multiple years of what I assume, what I think is growth from 22, 23, whatever the year is. Training. Give me another point that you think dealers can focus on going into 2026. So maybe something that was successful this year that you think will be even more successful next year.
Just continuous process improvement, right? So if you look at each individual thing in a dealership as a process, and you go, okay, well, what's working, what's not working? So can I improve this process, or is it status quo the way it is? Is there a area for improvement in this? Is there an area in improvement for how I hold gross on units? 2026 doesn't look like it, because now everybody's stacked with inventory. So now
Don't be getting all negative on
no,
this.
I'm not.
I don't
negative,
want no doom and gloom on
so
this.
you look at that. You look at that as a how can I improve on this
Right.
situation?
Yeah.
Right. So you go, okay, what can I improve in my process that makes that customer not want to shop price and want to buy from me? I've preached that to my salespeople all the time. Okay, well, right. Yeah, they get the best price from X, Y, and Z. What makes them want to shop with us? Do they live in my area?
Bless you.
Jesus, sorry.
Do they work? Okay. Do they work in this area? Are they driving through? They live in Georgia? I mean, what's driving them to ask me for a price? So that has to be known before I even give a price, right? So driving factor, right? So am I just going to drop my pants and try to steal a deal from XYZ dealership because they live 300 miles away from me and they're never ever going to spend another dime in my store? Absolutely not. No. But do they live in my backyard? Do they know 7 other people that live in my backyard?
Yeah.
Are they going to shop at my store again? Are they going to bring their unit back here for service? Are they going to come buy their parts and accessories for me? Yeah, I'm going to steal that deal. 100%.
That's such a great point. We started our podcast the last time we did this with like, well, how do we go from the, hey, I have a deal and I need to maximize this deal, to I have a deal and I need to make this a deal? And it's probably obvious to a lot of people, but the reality is you just made it even more obvious. Well, are you asking enough questions to know about the deal? Is the deal in your backyard? Is it 300 miles away? Do I know if it's 300 miles away? Well,
I'm charging them more money.
I
if
need
it's
to
300
milk.
miles away.
I need to milk this thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So if they're in my backyard, because I know we hold great margin. Well, if it's in my backyard, well, shit. You know, should I take a little bit? Is this a deal that I
Am
just
gonna
need to
take
make
a
a
skinny
deal?
deal?
You know
for my
what's
backyard.
You know,
absolutely.
You know what's more important than the value of a deal? The value of a customer.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we're saying.
Yes.
Yes.
Is the value of the deal isn't as important as the value of the customer, because the customer has money we don't have. The deal has money we have.
Correct.
So the customer in this whole, we mull this whole thing down, right? The customer is the most important part. And I hate to say this, and this sounds very blunt, but if you're a great sales leader, you base the decision off of how skinny that deal is based off of the value of the customer, not the value of the deal.
100%.
Because that customer is your brand. And we talked about this a little bit in our last podcast, but that customer is the one that's going to go talk about you.
I had that conversation with my entire management staff.
It's very
yesterday,
powerful.
and I said, "How do we grow SRS as a brand?" And everybody looked at me like, "Are you talking about Honda or Kawasaki?" Or?
No,
I
SRS.
said
Yeah.
SRS
Yeah.
as a brand, and I took that directly from last week's podcast, and I was like, "Dude, it's nomenclature to me, right? Like it's known. Like I am my brand.
Yep.
I represent everything I do in life. Back to, the olden days where your word is your bond, right? So
Same thing.
same
The
thing.
handshake.
Same thing.
The
Yeah.
handshake. It makes a deal.
That's still very valid.
It is.
People, I don't care, young, old, that still matters to people.
certain people. Some people it could mean dog shit.
I think most people.
Yeah, I've met some people in my day that
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't
I
mean
agree.
anything.
I'm just saying most people.
Right?
You know,
I think
go ahead.
a handshake is almost like your word. And I mean, how
Yeah.
many times have we said the car business will teach you that buyers are liars, right? So, yes, I agree with you that it does mean something, but I think we're getting to the point in society where it only means something to people that mean something.
True.
correct.
Does that make sense?
100%.
So, how do you make that decision on that deal if it's something that you've had for 365 days that needs to go? Do you sell it? Do you roll it?
365 days. If it's had a birthday at my
Okay,
store,
okay,
it
let me
goes
back
bye
that
bye.
up.
I don't care if it's
180
somebody
days.
280,000 miles
Okay,
away.
you got- okay,
it's
let me
going
back that
to a
up.
new home.
120 days. You have 2 of them, and you have 2 on your open order that you can get right now. Do you
Again,
take the deal?
It's variable, right? So, but in that, right, what's the demand for that product? What is the likelihood of me turning it within the next 30 to 60 days? So if I look at the whole thing, I'm going to take care of people in my backyard first. And if it's something that's easily replaceable, will I sell it at a net nothing deal to somebody 300 miles away? Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's easily replaceable, absolutely. But my first thought is, are they in my backyard? Are they my customer? am I taking care of my group of people? Because when you look at the big gross deals, I will take a skinny deal on somebody in my backyard over a full gross deal on somebody 800 miles away.
Well, because the 65% is so important.
100%.
The 65% is worth more 3 years from now than it is for the extra $1,000 in gross today. You know?
Correct.
Yeah, I think though the value of a customer isn't, just in my opinion, isn't just depicted off of geographic. Because I've dealt with customers that aren't anywhere near me that will only buy from me
Because they love your experience.
because they love the experience, and that's why I say the value of the customer, right? Like we've all had that situation. It's easy to geographically
Yes, but
say
that's an
in
anomaly.
general.
That's an
It
anomaly.
can be, but like I've trained salespeople up where they have the same result. Like where they have a customer that's, let's say we're selling out of Monroe, but they've got a Greensboro customer that said, "Well, man, I just got to tell you, you gave me, and the first deal, right? The business deal was the bullshit deal, right? But because of the number factor being bullshit, but the experience factor being phenomenal." Now that customer on the second transaction doesn't ask so much about the numbers.
Oh yeah,
Correct.
Yeah. Second, third transaction is totally different.
They want
The repeat referral business.
They
is
want that. So if you can luck
amazing.
into, I guess what I'm saying is there is more to it than just geographic, right? Like there is more to it than how far away they are. Now, if the customer's never done business with you and they're an asshole on the phone and you can't have a good experience, these are the things that I'm talking about whenever I put the blanket statement on the value of the customer.
Correct.
The value of that customer can be high even if they're not in your backyard because they can possibly buy 3 or 4 more units from you where they're not as worried about what the price is.
It's something that everybody at this table has to consider because everybody at this table is very aggressive in the way that we market our product, and we will go 100 miles, 150 miles out to bring a deal in. And like you said, the first one, your point is valid. While it may be an anomaly, well, if you do the job correctly, may not be an anomaly. You know what I mean? So, I think it depends on the people who are focused on just pushing their products.
I'm talking the 300-mile-out guy that's going,
Yeah.
hey, what's your best price?
You're referring to really most dealerships in
and
the country.
to be fair, I'm not discounting what you're saying. I'm just, for viewers,
Correct.
I'm saying, hey, if I'm a salesperson listening to this right now, I don't want to be jaded by somebody that calls me that's an hour away and saying, well, I know that the leadership team's not going to take a bullshit down from them. Because that's how it is. That's how it is. Like, if as a sales leader, if you give a salesperson the crutch,
well, if they
will use
if they
the
drink
crutch.
the Kool-Aid, then
they'll use that crutch.
Correct.
So for salespeople that are listening to this right now, the reality is you are the brand.
One of my salespeople that will work the desk harder than
The customer.
The customer.
Yeah.
And I go,
I actually like that. I actually like
have a
that.
whole nother podcast.
I like that. I like that.
I don't.
Because the guy's digging for the deals. That's the dog you need. Who's your top sales guy? Is he your top sales guy?
I got to be
No.
with you.
Oh, well, that's
that.
a different guy then.
But
I've never had a top sales guy that works the desk harder than they work the customer.
customer. Correct.
Me personally, I'm not saying it's not out there.
And it could happen, but if they put as much effort into getting their customers the better deal than they do getting the dealership the better deal, then life would be golden for them. But when they're this guy's a 570.
Well, yeah.
We can get him by
That's
somewhere.
different.
I was going to say,
what I'm thinking
because
about.
I've worked for you before, I know you like it from an effort perspective, but you're really good at telling people, "Now you got it, go
Go get it.
Yeah, go get it."
So
Go get it. Yeah.
to bring that to simmer that down a little bit and make it a little bit more specific, when I say a salesperson works the desk, it's as if they're trying to sell the desk.
No.
100%. And the
100%.
reality is I don't want you to sell me on anything.
I want you to sell
the
the
only
customer.
reason that I have a job is because I'm really fucking good with selling customers. And I treat my salespeople as my customers. So I don't want a customer selling me on the reason why it's not a deal, right? And that's what customers are really good at doing.
Yeah.
100%.
I want to be better
I'm gonna
at
go
selling
think
that
about it,
customer.
or I'm going to go talk to my wife.
I want to be better at selling that customer on why it is a deal. Same with my salespeople. I don't want my salesperson being better at telling me why something is a deal that isn't, and tying up their whole day with something that is not a deal. Because if I'm not, I'll be damned if I'm not the person in the dealership that can tell you whether something is a deal or is not a deal, then I'm in the wrong position. And Brandon talked about it earlier. So I don't want any of my salespeople to feel like that they have to work me. I want them to feel like that we are partners in a deal. They give me the information that they're supposed to get, and then we work together to figure out a situation where the customer buys something.
Bro,
Period.
That is literally. I still call you to this day. We're in a completely different and talk to you about a deal before I've decided that it's because I also need to be sold that it's a deal. Right. So it was the same way when we were in the we would
Typically, what do I say?
Yeah.
Get a little bit more money.
Yeah. No, what you'll do is you do exactly what he said is you'll sell me on the deal that the way that it's supposed to be structured, or the way that I'm bringing you the customer's pitch.
Yep.
And you'll say, and I, like I said, vividly remember this, partly because our offices were right next to each other in that dealership. I would walk across. He said, "No, this is how we should do it."
My favorite nickname I've ever gotten as a sales manager was the Hammer.
The hammer.
The hammer.
I wish we had a button for that. Boom.
So I
hammer.
have a similar one, but they call me the Velvet Hammer.
Velvet hammer.
The
Velvet
hammer.
No,
You
yeah.
smooth, slick talking dog.
That's
Anybody
good.
wanted something closed, they just go talk to Josh. He'll fucking close it.
That
Yep.
that was
Nail
my
it on the
steak.
head.
That was my steak.
Very good point. Not to segue and run this very long, but that is actually
We're
what you
17 hours into this
It's
1
what-
hour podcast.
We've been in here for 2 days.
want. That is actually what you want your salespeople to think. Is that
Yes.
if I take it to Josh, if I take it to Christian, it's done.
100%.
And it needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Like the guy that you have to perform.
That's what I mean is that if I have a deal that maybe I'm 50% confident in, even to this day, we're 8 years into this business. I'll call you on a deal that I'm
Say,
60% confident in.
Close this for me.
No.
I don't even have to close it.
No, he doesn't.
I don't close it.
I'm like,
Messing.
get me to where I need to be, because I'm a good, and this is the case with most good salespeople. And when we're talking about what is a deal and what is not a deal, a great salesperson is not always going to know what maybe you want or you want out of a deal, or what from me to you what you want out of a deal. And so I'm gonna get it all buttered up and get it to where it needs to be, and then I'll hear what a customer has to say. And whether you're a salesperson in a dealership, whether you're selling a service-based product, whether you're doing anything for sales, you should have somebody that if you get to a place where maybe you don't have full confidence in the original thing that you picked, and then you got to call the hammer, or maybe it's not even the
Or
hammer.
the velvet hammer.
Or the velvet
Maybe it's
hammer.
just
Or the jackhammer.
let me
Oh, yeah.
let me get a perspective that will essentially, okay, I gave the customer an opportunity to sell me on their you tell me why we're correct.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like they should be able to go to you not just to close the deal, but to get confidence. Because I know you two specifically are good enough at training salespeople that you've got closers. They don't need you to close the deal. They need you to close them, because your salespeople is your customer.
Yep.
I am your customer in an agency. So I will call you to say, close me on what we believe versus what this customer believes.
Right.
And 95% of the time,
It works.
you're correct, because I'm in it and I'm emotionally attached to it. You're maybe not in a specific
The
situation.
outside looking in is a much better perspective from the inside looking out.
You ain't wrong.
Oh
bud.
yeah.
I'm coaching a boot camp right now, and I know that we're going into. I'm gonna give you a marketer's perspective on this. I'm a marketer. Blake is a marketer, but he's analytical. As a marketer, I'm emotional, so I'll get attached to my ideas, a specific piece of content, a specific offer, and I'll take it to Blake, and Blake will say,
No, I mean, there's several times you've called me with Josh. So I've got this idea.
ding, 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 ding.
I want to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to be different. So let's
This,
mix
this,
it up
and
a
this.
little bit.
Well, here my point is with Blake is that I'll look at a specific campaign, and because I'm always trying to get more and more and more out of what we do. Like sometimes I'll think that this wild idea is what's great, and then because I'm a marketer or a salesperson, if you will, because as a salesperson you're a marketer. Like I get a little emotionally attached to my ideas, the same way a salesperson gets emotionally attached to a deal that they think they know. Well, sometimes you need somebody to just
Grab you by the neck and
yeah,
tell you
like
what's
hey,
going on.
dude. Yeah, take the emotion out of the deal.
I think to Brandon's point though, I think the ultimate for sales managers specifically, if you have the responsibility of having the title of sales manager, and every salesperson that works in your organization doesn't know for a fact that when they bring you a deal, it's done, then you've got work to do on yourself.
Oh, 100%.
And by say done, I don't necessarily mean that it is a deal.
It's a deal. It's as close to a deal as you can get.
I'm saying if they don't have the belief in you that when I bring this to my sales manager, he tells me it's a deal, it's a deal. He tells me, hey man, I'm sorry, it's not a
Move
deal.
on.
And you don't say time to move on, then you've got work to do as a sales manager. And the only way that you can earn the respect of a salesperson when you tell them
Is
it's
by
not a
making
deal,
them money.
it's not is correct.
100%.
But when you tell them that it's not a deal and they don't even second guess you and say, all right, man, I appreciate you taking a look at it. I'm going to move on to the next one.
Yeah.
The only way you can do that is by taking deals that they thought were not deals
Never going to happen in the first
and
place.
making them. That's the only way you can do that as a sale. And I'm talking specifically, I'm kind of
As a sales
micro.
manager, it's
As
a
a
puzzle
sales
piece,
manager.
right? So you have to figure out how to make something out of nothing.
correct.
So when you can make that fugazi a reality,
It's not
Fairy
it's
dust.
not-
It
it's
doesn't
not-
exist.
It's not
It
real.
doesn't
It doesn't
exist.
exist. It doesn't exist.
so when you can make that populate into something, and they go, "Holy shit!
Yeah.
You made that happen."
You want to show me a good sales manager? Show me a sales manager that a salesperson can take a deal that they've worked for 3 weeks. They can put it on their desk. That sales manager can say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, it's not a deal," and that salesperson is just as happy
as
as
if they
whenever-
closed it.
Yep.
as if they closed it. That's a fucking baller sales manager, because you know what that salesperson just realized? I made no money. I worked this customer for 2 weeks. My sales manager told me that there wasn't there, and I'm able to move on now to the next
not a
customer, and I'm
wait.
completely happy with it because now I don't have to worry about Jim Bob Thornton anymore.
Billy Bob.
Well,
Billy Bob,
change it
Jim
to-
Bob.
for protection of the week.
He said Thornton.
They're cousins.
I
But
actually have
I'm
a
serious.
broom-
I'm serious though.
I have a
That's
broom
a
in the
that's a
corner of my
reality.
office, and I'll just hand it to the salesperson.
That's dope.
So
As if they wrote in on it, or like,
just go sweep up your mess.
oh shit.
Get rid of this one because here's your broom. It's a-
Yeah, and I think it's powerful to like give them the power to sweep up that mess, not always fix it for them.
Hey, Pac, let's wrap it up.
Give me my theme music. Fellas, great episode. 2026 is looking bright if you're doing it right.
You're doing it right. Yeah.
Doing it right.
Appreciate you guys tuning into the Movie Metal Show podcast.
Thanks for having me as a guest.
Josh Morris, freaking superstar. If you're an operator, GM, sales manager, Marine, looking for a little bit of inspiration, here's your guy. Shout out to my co-host, Christian Hingle, Brandon Prokupek. I appreciate you guys. Josh, thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.
Moving metal.